Hi, Alethea.
Oh, hi, Officer Wallace.
To your knowledge, was Mr. Bogdanoff involved in any other business venture?
Business adventure? I think this business was adventurous enough for him.
Alethea, you misunderstood me again. I said business venture, as in, did he have any other kind of business?
Oh, sure. He was a very successful businessman.
So he did have other business.
He was doing art consultancy. He was a very talented man, Mr. Bogdanoff.
So, what do you know about this art consultancy?
I know that he was making a lot of money. Oh, and he was doing so well.
How exactly do you know he was making a lot of money?
You know, he had that walk about him. He just seemed so confident. He must have been making a lot of money.
Thank you for your insight, Alethea. You've been so helpful.
Oh, I'm so proud of myself.
So, tell me about the girls you work with. How about Piper?
Piper? She's got it all together.
In what sense?
You know, she's intelligent and sophisticated, and she knows how to deal with the customers. She's going to be a very successful businesswoman.
Is she a close friend?
Oh, no. My relationship with her is on a different level. She watches over me and Monica.
What do you mean, she watches over you?
Sometimes she watches our every move and is critical about our behavior when we're around Mr. B.
Did Mr. Bogdanoff have many friends?
You bet. He was always spending time with his friends.
Always? Spending time doing what?
You know, the routine. Going out, eating something, and having fun.
What kind of fun?
Officer Wallace, you talk as if you're from another galaxy. You know, fun.
I can only assume. Can you be specific, Alethea?
Oh, I guess you're not the type to go out. You see, Mr. B liked going out to a lot of places, and he especially liked this one club.
So, he went to this club with his buddies?
I think so. He was always having fun with his friends.
So, tell me more about this club.
Oh, it's très chic, as they say in Paris.
Have you been to this club, Alethea?
Oh, no. I don't think I'd fit in there just yet.
What do you mean by that?
Well, for one thing, it's very pricey.
And what else?
I guess they play some very old and exotic music there. I don't like classical music. It's boring, if you know what I mean.
Why would such a chic place play such music?
Haven't got a clue. Must be something to do with strange, expensive taste.
So where is this très chic place?
I think it's somewhere in the pyramid. I don't know its name. I'm new here, you know.
I think I've got everything I need from you for my investigation, Alethea.
Sure, Officer Wallace.
Thanks, and goodbye.
Bye.
Well, this is as good as it gets with her. This guard looks like he is in charge here. This is a secure door. Only the guard can open it. Hello, I'm Senior Officer Phoenix Wallace from the Adrianopolis Peace and Security Center. I'm here to see Captain Juan Antonio Perez.
And what is this regarding, ma'am?
Official peace and security business.
Okay. First, you need to contact the personnel office. They can direct you to Captain Perez.
Thank you. And how do I find the personnel office?
I will arrange for someone to take you there. Please follow me. Officer Wallace from the Peace and Security Division. Please escort her to the personnel office.
That looks like an organization map. The Articles of our Constitution, the final Bill of Rights. Her name appears to be Aisling Monahan. That HDI is quite normal for a corporal in the armed forces. Corporal Aisling Monahan?
Yes, and who's asking?
Hi, I'm Senior Officer Phoenix Wallace from the Adrianopolis Peace and Security Center.
Hi, Officer Wallace. What can I do for you?
I'm here in an official capacity. I need to find Captain Juan Antonio Perez, service number 3865959.
And what type of official business are you conducting about Captain Perez?
It is regarding a murder case, Corporal.
A murder case? Who's been murdered?
A Union citizen by the name of Vasily Bogdanov was murdered, and I'm conducting the investigation.
A Union citizen? Murdered? When? Where?
In Odessa, Russia, on April 6th. I must inform you that the case has been ordered confidential by a judge.
Oh, I understand. And may I ask what Captain Perez has to do with this investigation?
I'm not sure yet, but I was hoping that he would be able to provide some answers regarding my case.
Unfortunately, Captain Perez cannot answer any of your questions.
And why is that? Has he been reassigned?
No. I regret to inform you that Captain Perez died on the night of April 1st.
He died? Are we talking about the same man here? Captain Juan Antonio Perez, with a service number of
3865959. Yes, I'm afraid so.
Officer Monahan, can you tell me how Captain Perez died?
In a plane crash while on duty.
Oh, how tragic. But how?
He was flying a military cargo plane, and it crashed into the side of a mountain.
My goodness. I thought this kind of tragedy only happened on television shows.
I'm afraid this accident was very real.
But I haven't heard anything on the news about this.
As is your case, Officer Wallace. This case is classified too.
I understand. So, Corporal, where exactly did the accident happen?
I am not allowed to discuss any details of this case without authorization from my superior officers. I am sorry.
I see. So you haven't been told either.
I have to admit, many facts of this case were not disclosed to me, but some of them were.
And can you explain to me what's wrong with sharing facts with a fellow officer from the GPSN? Let me remind you that this investigation concerns the murder of a Union citizen.
I suppose you have a point, Officer Wallace. We're all working for the same cause, to protect our mighty Union.
So where did his plane crash?
It crashed in rogue state territory. The remains of the plane were found on a mountainside somewhere in Russia. I do not know the exact location.
Did you know Captain Perez personally?
No, I did not.
How long had he been stationed here, in Adrianopolis?
I'm afraid that information is classified.
How about his personal interests? The places he used to hang out?
Officer Wallace, I have no information about his personal life at all.
Isn't there anyone who can tell me about this man?
As a matter of fact, there is.
Who is it? Please tell me.
You may want to talk to the First Lieutenant Ulrika Thorson.
And who may that be? His former co-worker?
No. Officers Perez and Thorson were sexual partners.
Oh. How can I get in touch with Officer Thorson?
She is commissioned here at the base. You can find her office in Logistics Wing.
Thank you for your assistance, Corporal Monahan. You've been very helpful.
And good luck to you with your investigation, Officer Wallace.
It's a fire extinguisher. Maybe First Lieutenant Thorson has something to do with the fire code here. It's a fire exit chart. Wow! Thorson is one of the fire marshals. I should be able to find her room now.
May I help you?
I'm Senior Peace Officer Phoenix Wallace from the Peace Center here in Adrianopolis.
How can I help you, Officer Wallace?
I need to speak with you regarding your late sexual partner, Captain Juan Antonio Perez. Officer Thorson, how long did you know Captain Perez?
For more than 3 years.
Did you happen to work with him?
Yes, I did. We worked on several projects together.
Did you enjoy working with him?
Sure. He was a hard worker and a very funny person.
And a good pilot, I hear.
He was one of the most experienced at our base. But wait a minute. Why are you asking me all these questions?
I'm working on a murder case, and Captain Perez's name came up during my investigation.
A murder case? What murder case?
A Union citizen named Vasily Bogdanov was murdered in Odessa, Russia.
Murdered in Odessa? I didn't know one of our citizens was murdered there.
The case is being kept confidential until further investigation is made.
I see. And what does Antonio have to do with this murder?
His name was on a list of Mr. Bogdanov's.
What kind of list?
I'm still working on that.
When did this murder happen, anyway?
On April 6th?
Antonio was already dead by then.
Yes, I know. So, tell me, Officer Thorson, was Captain Perez interested in art?
In art? Are you sure this is related to your investigation?
Yes, it is.
Well, let me tell you. Antonio was not an art enthusiast.
Are you sure, Officer Thorson?
Of course. He couldn't identify a Picasso, even if it was right before his eyes.
I see. So he didn't mention any art interests to you recently?
No. Antonio and I only had limited time together, so we usually focused on other, more immediate needs.
Physical needs?
Exactly.
Does your duty include dealing with the Rogue State authorities?
Yes, it does.
How often are you in contact with them?
It varies. The contact is established whenever there is a need. Sometimes we have an open channel all day long. Sometimes we go without contact for months.
Are you on friendly terms with the Rogue State authorities?
Generally, we are. I mostly deal with the Russians, and their officers are very kind and courteous.
If they have friendly intentions, then why do we have so much security along the border?
Why do you think they are called the Rogue States? It's because we don't know what they are up to. They are very unpredictable and untrustworthy. Besides, There are vicious criminal groups over there that the Russian government has no control over. You're a peace officer. You should know about all this.
Just wanted to get the opinion of a border security expert. Did Captain Perez ever mention going to the Thing Store?
What store?
The Thing Store, down at the pyramid.
I am sorry, Officer Wallace, but we have a very busy schedule at this base. We rarely have time to browse the pyramid.
Oh, that's so unfortunate. There are great stores at the pyramid, and the Thing Store happens to be one of my favorites.
And what do they sell in these thing stores?
Oh, all kinds of original decorative ornaments.
What did you say the name of the store was?
The Thing Store.
I remember Antonio talking about a thing store, but I never thought thing was actually the name of the store.
It is, and I suggest you check it out sometime.
I will try to remember to do that, Officer Wallace.
I have an urgent call from my headquarters First Lieutenant Thorson. Can we continue at another time?
Certainly, Officer Wallace. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Julio finally came up with some useful information. Right, Julio?
Yes, Chief.
We're all ears. Julio,
Oh, yes. This Bogdanov fellow.
please, a little respect. Addressing a deceased person.
Sure. Mr. Bogdanov arrived to the Union 3 years ago.
Okay, we already know that. Tell us something new, Julio.
He brought more than $1.3 million with him.
Wow.
An impressive amount. I wonder where he got it from.
I have more gossipy stuff, too.
Excuse me, what kind of stuff?
Just that he immigrated with his nuptial partner. In Russia, of course.
And what was her name?
Larissa Lukin, his primary sexual partner, was his former nuptial partner.
No way.
I suppose Miss Lucan never mentioned this to you, Phoenix?
No, she did not.
Very well. What else, Julio?
Yes. There's this stuff about his finances.
What about his finances?
He made a lot of money over the last 2 months. And then bang!
What does bang mean, Julio?
Oh, he withdrew it all on April 6th.
What did he do with it?
He took a banker's check.
Curious. Why would he want to do that? Anything else?
Not really. I uploaded all the details to your PAs.
Thank you, Julio. Your timing was somewhat late, but nevertheless. Let me add that we have an autopsy report for Mr. Bogdanov. He was murdered by a 9mm firearm. 9mm is a typical bullet size for a handgun in the rogue states.
Ouch. That would hurt.
Yes, Julio, we know. Julio, you are dismissed. I had a look at Bogdanov's financial information, and I found it to be very interesting. I suggest you take a close look at it.
Sure, Chief, provided that Julio uploaded it to my PA.
I'm sure he did. He may not be as smart as you are, but he's definitely very ambitious. He sees this case as an important stepping stone for his future, and so should you.
Yes, Chief. Of course I do.
You need to be more convincing than that. So far, your progress in this case has been average. I suggest you focus better, or else you may lose your status as my lead investigative officer.
I understand, Chief.
Good. I also noticed Melvin Philip Spencer's name in Bogdanov's bank records. What do you make of that?
Oh, the man that died using the illegal device. I don't know, but I can investigate.
Do that. But don't spend too much time on it. That case is being handled by our headquarters, and I don't want you to step on anybody's toes.
Sure, Chief. I'll be careful.
I'll get Spencer's autopsy report sent to you. One more thing. After you carefully examine Bogdanov's finances, ask Pierre DeVille's opinion. I bet he'll make some interesting remarks.
Pierre DeVille. All right.
In the meantime, I believe you have certain questions to ask Ms. Lukin.
PA, access GPSN census database and add Melvin Spencer's address to my navigation map. But I better pay a visit to Larissa first. She's been hiding stuff from me. Hi, Larissa.
Oh, hi again, dear. Sit down.
Thank you. How are you today?
Oh, I'm a little better. How is the investigation going?
Actually, I wanted to talk to you about that.
Oh, did you find out who the murderer is?
Not yet, but there are some issues that make me concerned.
Oh, is there anything I can do to help?
Larissa, I am totally disappointed with you.
Phoenix, why, dear?
Because you have been lying to me about your past.
Oh, now hui.
You lied to me about your history with Mr. Bogdanov, and I want to know why.
I was scared.
Of what?
You know, nuptial agreement. Not acceptable. We decided to keep it a secret.
Come on, you don't expect me to believe that. I want the truth this time, not any petty excuses.
I was scared. Really scared.
Of what?
The Gambinos.
What did you say you're scared of?
The Gambinos.
Who are the Gambinos?
They are the scariest people of Russia.
What do they do?
They are the biggest Russian mafia.
Why are you scared of the Gambinos?
Because Vasily used to be one of them.
You must be joking.
Unfortunately not.
Being linked to a mafia and all, I wonder how Mr. Bogdanov passed the security screening.
Vasily was their accountant, and they trusted him with the money. He was never notorious, and they always tell us our past is not relevant in the academy.
No, it is not, but... Wow, being part of a crime family? Well, if he passed the security tests, that means he had no tendencies toward violence.
Oh, Vasily was very kind. I keep telling you. He just had no choice during his childhood, and he was doing something he hated. Then he told me we should take all the risk and try to immigrate. I still think about what might have happened if one of us failed the academy.
Larissa, lying to a GPSN employee is a serious offense. You should know better.
I know, Phoenix. I told you I was not emotionally fit to behave politically correct.
I suppose you did, but you must never do it again. Understood?
Promise, my dear.
I have other things to get done today, but I'll be back. So Bogdanov used to be a Gambino crime family member. So hard to believe. Yet Larissa sounded convincing enough for a change. I know it's late, but I need to report my findings to Chief Morrison.
You better have a good reason for bringing me here this late.
Larissa Lukin claims that Vasily Bogdanov used to be a member of the Gambino crime family of Russia.
You don't say? Mr. Bogdanov must have been a graduate of the Randy Hamilton School of Security.
I beg your pardon, Chief. Are you talking about Senior Officer Randy Hamilton, my predecessor? I didn't know he owned a school for security training.
Of course he didn't. I was being sarcastic. When I started my tenure here 5 years ago, Randy was the only security screening interviewer. Later we learned that many of the novices he had interviewed and approved were convicted of serious crimes committed once they were living in the Union. I immediately suspended and eventually fired him when I had gathered enough scientific evidence.
Oh, I didn't know that. Was he that bad of an interviewer?
Yes, and he was a terrible judge of character. I think he believed that everybody had a right to live in the Union. I even had to take over the interviews myself, until I commissioned you and a few others.
I see.
Phoenix, I want you to pretend that you know nothing about the shortcomings of Randy Hamilton. Maybe our Ms. Lucan has more skeletons to offer us from her closet.
Evidently, Larissa Lucan told me that Bogdanov had been a Gambino accountant, and that he was never a part of any duty involving violence. She insists that Bogdanov hated being part of a crime family, and so he took the risk of stealing money in order to immigrate here.
A Gambino accountant on the run? They certainly have a reason to fry his ass.
Excuse me, Chief.
I said the Gambinos have a very good reason to have had this man killed. Don't you agree?
I certainly do, Chief.
I only have a little time. Continue.
You were right about Bogdanov's 7-digit number, Chief. It belonged to a Captain Juan Antonio Perez of the GPSN military.
So, did you find this Captain Perez? Does he have anything to do with Bogdanov?
I can't tell yet, Chief. And unfortunately, Captain Perez isn't around to answer my questions either. He's dead.
What? How did he die?
He died in a plane crash over Russian soil. The details of the accident are being kept confidential.
Who's your contact there?
I talked to the Personnel Officer Corporal Monahan and First Lieutenant Thorson, who happened to be Perez's sexual partner. First Lieutenant Thorson had known Captain Perez for more than 3 years. She claims that Perez was one of the most experienced pilots at their base. Alethea Cordoba claims that Bogdanov had an art consultancy business on the side, in addition to his Thing Store franchise. She felt that he was making a lot of money from this art consultancy, but I wonder how a recent immigrant could develop such an appreciation for art in a relatively short period.
An art consultancy? You don't say. That is a very interesting detail. Good work. However, I am slightly disappointed with your prejudiced attitude towards the immigrants and their appreciation for art.
But I thought Rogue Stater's main focus was to survive, Chief. How can they develop a refined taste in art while facing such day-to-day hardships?
The need to express oneself is a part of human nature. The finest creations of art are often produced under the stimulus of hardships and sorrow.
I wasn't aware of that, Chief. We weren't taught about this at school. Does this opinion come from your own personal experience?
Yes. Some of the finest songs I've ever heard were written during the blockade of Denmark, under the worst possible conditions.
You don't say. I suppose I still have a lot to learn about human nature.
I want to talk to you about the Stardust Club. You mention it in all of your reports, but there is nothing but gossip. If you cannot obtain any useful information from this place, I suggest you drop it.
Speaking of Stardust, Fabian told me about a Mata Hari. Apparently, she's the main attraction at the Stardust Club. Fabian claims that this Mata Hari can captivate anyone in her audience, and she dances to some exotic Middle Eastern music.
Phoenix, what did I just tell you? What is the relevance? Is there something I'm missing?
But she was sitting right next to Mikhailov, Bogdanov's buddy, and when they noticed me watching them, they abruptly stood up and departed in separate directions.
Are you sure they left because of you?
I am positive. Mata Hari gave me a stern look right before she stood up.
Why do you think your scrutiny caused them to leave?
I don't know, but I sure want to find out. I have nothing further to mention at this time. What should I wear? Hello, Fabian. It's me again.
Oh, welcome back, Officer Wallace.
Who is Matahari?
I already told you who she is. She is our famed dancer.
No, I mean, who is she really?
To my knowledge, Matahari is her stage name, as you already guessed.
Do you know her real name?
No, I don't think anybody does.
Come on, she probably has some contract with this place. Doesn't anyone in the management know her name?
No, she goes by Matahari and everybody loves it.
What do you mean, everybody loves it?
You know, everybody loves the mysteriousness of her name. When clients watch Matahari for the first time, they all want to know her real name.
Why is that?
Because they instantly fall in love with her. They are enraptured by her.
I thought the clients were predominantly devotees. I don't think those people can be enraptured by anything at first sight.
I think you'll change your mind about that after seeing Matahari in action.
Was Mr. Bogdanov able to have healthy relationships with the union women?
Sure, why not? He never complained to me. Maybe he was not in the best shape, but it shouldn't have mattered for a man of his qualities.
What qualities are we talking about here?
First of all, he knew how to handle people. Trust me, Officer Wallace, I can tell when a man has exemplary communication skills.
You believe he was a great communicator?
Believe me, it's not just me. Everybody in this joint thought the same way.
Including Matahari?
I wouldn't know that, of course. She isn't one to share her feelings.
Do you think Bogdanov liked Matahari?
Of course he did. He was infatuated with her, just like everyone else.
Did you ever see him around other women?
No, come to think of it, but then again, we don't see many women in this club. The club doesn't offer much for their pleasure.
But if your club is full of men, why wouldn't women find pleasure here?
Officer Wallace, you have to understand that our regulars have been around the block and seen it all. They do not have anything left to prove, as far as women are concerned. Often women come here in groups and are never able to attract the attention of men. When these women see the shows, I think they feel a little intimidated. Then they leave and never come back.
So, how can you explain their undivided interest in Matahari?
I simply can't. I don't think they can either, which intrigues them even more.
Thanks for the information. I shouldn't take more of your time today, but I might come back with more questions later.
Certainly, Officer Wallace.
Matahari. What a strange woman. I've heard enough about her for tonight. He must be guarding that door. Hi.
Hello, madame.
I have a question for you.
I'm all ears, madame.
Is there a real purpose to your job?
Come again?
I mean, do you really do anything here at the door?
Certainly, madame. Our club has a blacklist, and I have to deny entry to those who are blacklisted.
Really? Do you ever have to use physical force?
I have not. But I heard stories that in big cities like New York and London, the bouncers like me occasionally have to get rough.
Wow. So those big muscles of yours aren't for nothing after all. See you. What should Ugh, Julio, that dumbass.